steady so you all can see. Hope y'all can see good enough. Turn this on. While I eat my cake. I want to discuss the things that Katt Williams talked about, and I want to bring you into his world because a lot of y'all think that when you're in the world, that God has agents only in the church. When you grow up, you either got to be an usher, evangelist, preacher, or teacher in the church. And a lot of that came about with this big thing, this mega thing that we were taught, we were steered away from by the deception, the biggest deception of the enemy in the church, to be in the church and seek these things, and that be our sole desire, just because I articulate and we're women that are loose, quote unquote. I'm still on that TD Jakes Azusa, this Azusa TD Jakes thing, and I still don't understand yet. So you guys are going on this journey with me. I don't understand how Carlton Pearson went from one thing with bringing, this is when they brought more music into church, um, and performance kind of thing into church. He went from that, at least he believed in God and was a Christian and believed in hell, but he went from that to this inclusion thing and dropped. I don't want to talk about that because this is specifically about Katt Williams. But I want you to know that if you're watching this, not to get off of this because you're a Christian. Don't say, oh, I can't watch this. He's drinking and talking. He's giving some seeds. And you got to realize God has people in different places and on different levels. And wherever he's taken him to, he's tried in this conversation with Shay Shay to keep his integrity and done his best to do it and has succeeded in doing it apparently, and is not afraid and has a boldness that you have to have when you're speaking about certain things, because we have allowed, especially the black community, we have allowed our community to come from something with a background in church to getting twisted, and these spells that people have spun from something almost all the way to nothing. The power in the churches are more powerful when you go out of the country. The United States has is gotten to a place where people are not getting filled with the Holy Ghost. People are, it's just a whole lot of things. But this I want to talk about with Katt Williams. So I want you to watch this. I'm going to turn it on for a minute and let it get started. Let it start out.
Nah, I didn't want that. That wasn't what I was signing up for at all. And plus, I thought that Jesus was my big homie. So you know how you get a story about a dude joined the gang and you get a big homie, right? Like at this particular point, okay, that it houses the truth and that it gives you this story of Jesus and that I'm supposed to be like him. Okay. So it's already in my head that as soon as I get 13, I'm leaving.
You. So right there, he confesses that he has that faith in Jesus Christ. Then he talks about how he left home when he was 13 years old. He had that in his mind. I'm going to let you see the rest of it.
You at 13, you don't only like, okay, mom, I'm moving out. You moved from Ohio to Florida on your own. You weren't afraid. I mean, you like, did you?
Hold on,
did you not have? So what were you gonna do when you got to Florida?
Don't say I wasn't afraid. There's no such thing as a human being of not being afraid.
Okay.
There are certain human beings that understand that being afraid in no way stops you from doing what you got to do.
Okay.
So I was afraid, but I couldn't be that afraid because I knew what had happened with Jesus. I knew how it worked out. I knew that I wasn't in the wrong with how I was feeling, and I knew that I didn't have any bad intentions in it.
Right.
So I trusted God that it will work out.
Okay, now I want to tell you that Katt Williams is going into a lot of his career at this point, and at this point,
Me will tell you that when
I want to stop it because there it is. There's the part of his faith that comes out, and he left at 13. He had in his mind Jesus left at 12. So a lot of our black men and even white people, leave at a young age, leave home at a young age. And I remember leaving home when I was 17, and I never looked back, never had to really look back until my first child when I turned 21. So for 4 years, I was just on my own, and I was beyond young. I was very, I want to say, I had I had I had experienced life at a young age, and I remember playing basketball all through high school, all through seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. I remember us getting the championship. I had sprained my ankle before that, and we won the state championship. I remember that, and I was 17 and away from home, finishing high school and graduating with a D. But glad I graduated. I walked the stage. Didn't even know I graduated with a D until later on. Then I went to college and dropped out of college and went back to college and graduated with another D. It's not. What do I want to say? It's not your beginning and your failures, but it's your ending and what you do with what you have. Those diplomas and those established things that I did, I was much more intelligent than that, but at the end, it depends on what you're going through at the time and who you are and who you associate yourself with and how you end your thing. It's not how you start a thing, but how you end your thing. Now I want to get into this next segment that Shay Shay, and you can see in the description his name if you want to watch this entire video. Okay.
Katt Williams when I was Cat in the Hat, and they tell these stories about how he changed his name. Look, the truth of the matter is Disney sued me. Yeah, I was Cat in the Hat. They sent me a cease and desist letter, and I'm not even making $25,000 a year. And the mega company Disney has sent me a cease and desist telling me I can't use any variations of that name. Fine, I'm Katt Williams. That's all that happens. I have been this same product the entire time. They will tell you when they first saw me doing stand up, I was just like this. This is what I bring. This is my style.
When did you know you was going? You wanted? Were you always funny? Did you always want to be a comedian? How did you stumble on the comedianship?
No, I loved what they did, and so I studied them, all of them. I studied all of the white comedians because I wanted to know, why is Monty Python funny? Why is Don not so talented? I wanted to know, what is George Carlin's thing? Like, so I studied all of the comedy masters regardless of the field because I loved to laugh. I didn't know that these people were making a great living at doing this. I thought this is just what they did. They tell jokes. They're funny people. But I love the craft. And that's why when I got into the craft, I thought it was my obligation to make sure that I kept writing new material so much that it forced these comedians to stop doing the set they've been doing for 10 years and keep writing some new stuff. And I knew that if I could get that to take on, that most of these bums would have to just quit comedy because they can't keep up. They're not going to keep writing an hour worth of material.
Right.
I've written an hour worth of material 19 times. They're not going to do it.
Okay, and this is a point I wanted to get to in Katt Williams' work ethic, his business ethic. What he really just said there is, to be good in business, you have to study. And even the Bible says to study to show yourself approved, a workman that need not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. And Katt Williams presents himself in this as a truth talker, as a truth maker, as a truth establisher to those that don't know truth about things, to the fallacies that are around him. He talks about that. So Katt Williams is really good in business. I'm going to get to a segment if I can remember the place the segment is. I'm going to get to the segment. If not, I'm going to get to the segment and speak about how Katt Williams, in his business ethic, provides or pays for his arenas and does not have somebody else pay for them and reaps the benefits. So he pays for where he goes. When you establish your own vision, when you establish who you are on your own, you can be independent and be successful, and you don't have to have that great big fame. So Katt Williams got the fame as a result, or got the, not only the fame, but the finances, not depending on the industry, not depending on wearing a dress, not dependent on using himself sexually, not dependent on any of those things. And he knows that he doesn't have to go to a radio station to sell tickets. He has a fan base that loves him. He has a fan base that understands that through everything he's weaving, in the core of what he does, he's speaking truth. He's speaking, he put first on this big platform his faith in God. So you don't see him on very many platforms, but in this platform, he established himself. He dispelled rumors. He discussed individuals that are in Hollywood. He just did all of that. And so that's what this video is pretty much about. It's about Katt Williams, the man, the businessman, and the man of faith. So let's go into this. I think there's a segment I wanted to talk about right here.
He is a sport.
What gave you the confidence that you could get on stage?
You remember I was 5 years old on stage.
Okay.
Yeah,
So performing in front of people was no problem.
But I was reiterating God's word at that point.
Oh.
Now I just have to make sure that the content is good. If the content is good, what part can I not do? I'm a vessel. He's given me these gifts to be able to do certain things. So I just want to utilize them in my craft. That's all.
Do you remember your first set?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that confession? You know, all this time, I have enjoyed some of Katt Williams. I'm not a person that seeks to watch it all the time, but I'm a person that seeks to make sure that I am knowledgeable about what goes on in the world. And if you're not knowledgeable about what goes on in the world and you're a Christian that has shut off your knowledge of that, then you have left yourself unknowledgeable of how you're going to protect yourself when you confront or you're around or you're in these arenas. I don't care if you're at a bank. I don't care if you're at a car wash. I don't care if you're at a grocery store. You're going to confront individuals in this world. So even though we're in this world, we're not of this world. I'm not trying to make this a teaching moment, but I'm just trying to let you know that God has people in different places and you don't realize just how much, because what you do is you'll sit down and you'll point out that here in this segment with this man, Mr. Shay Shay, he's having a drink and he's talking. And even the Bible says not to drink until you're drunk. But in this setting, it's a saying in the Romans, you be as the Romans. It doesn't mean that you smoke weed in this setting. It doesn't mean that you smoke crack cocaine. It doesn't mean that you toot cocaine. It doesn't mean that you do all these things, go to these parties in these segments and just become something you're not. He's sitting here having a conversation about his faith and his business sense and different things like that. Let me go on to one more segment. I don't know if anybody's on here, but I really enjoy Katt Williams. I really do. Let's see. I think it's a segment right here I want to discuss. I really enjoyed this interview. Let me say that. That's what I meant to say. I really enjoyed this interview and I just couldn't finish it. So let me watch it with you.
Then you would understand that part.
You financed your first stand-up. You had 20. It cost you 22,000. You had 25 to your name.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to do that? You believe that much in Katt?
I believe that much in business. In business, the goal is for you to become independent and be the boss, take the responsibility, and also get the profit.
Okay.
That's all. How can I be looking for you to put me on if I wouldn't? And if I can't show you what you missed out on, why would you believe me? Now, the fact that I was able to do it 12 times, that's the real thing. The part that I'm able to do it all across the country. The fact that every time I do a tour or a special, you think, well, that's sponsored by somebody. Somebody did a good job. No, just the guy there kicking around. Just the one who might mentally not be all there. He's the one picking the outfits, writing this guy's material, booking the show, making sure he gets there. He's the one hiring the other comedians. But hey, I knew that that's the end goal. So if that's the end goal and I'm there when I start, why would I deviate from that?
Right.
Remember, my goal was to get this far in Hollywood and still have a virgin asshole and never have sucked a penis. That was my only goal.
Now, see,
I didn't want to.
I wanted to make sure.
Get with a white woman because
I wanted to make sure in this segment that you heard that Katt Williams has not sold out, and that is a lot of people call that the Illuminati. A lot of people call that going to a gatekeeper and having to be in these positions. Can you imagine if you're a woman and you're trying to be great, how much prostitution is in this that nobody talks about. There is no way that Cardi B can get on that stage or Nicki Minaj can get to that place and get on that stage. Cardi B with the tattoos on her, coming from a strip club, still stripping on her shows. So it's like the enemy takes people, allows them to be successful, to use them in a certain area to gather other people and keep other people's minds taken away and caught up. And they're not realizing that they're looking at people that have compromised in such a manner to get where they are. If you can look over, some of you that are listening to me, in your life coming up, and I don't know about you, but I came up, I was born in the ghetto, didn't know I was poor, coming up and with 7 other kids, being the next to the youngest child, being treated like the baby in the family out of 8, all my life, but venturing out on my own at 17 and making my way. Can you imagine that there are things that you come up against that you say, I don't want to make that choice. I don't want to be at the top that bad. I don't want to be the baddest person in this man's life and he's got 2 other women. I don't want to be the baddest drug dealer's girlfriend and he might go to jail. But I'm experiencing those things, but I'm not trying to be in the end all, be the greatest, or have that fame at any cost. That's some of the choices that people make. And if we don't say anything about it, these people that make those choices will feel like, I've made this choice. I'm stuck in this lifestyle. I'm here. And not say like Christian, what is it, Keys? Let me expose this because I'm tired of this. Forget all this acting, fame, or the position. I'm tired of being exposed to this. I'm tired of trying to get my integrity taken. And I'm going to speak out. And so this is a year that people are speaking out. This is the year of further exposure. But this is the year that you guys don't know about. You think it's just going to be exposure in the industry. But most of the exposure this year is because God is judging the church first. He said he'll judge the church. He said, first judgment shall begin at the house of God. And if it begins there, where will the sinner and the ungodly appear? That means that once he judges the church, once he gets to the real rank sinner, the ones that are trying to conform you and conform people to their accepting their lifestyle, and not only accepting it, accepting them wanting to take your lifestyle away from you. It will be a time that heterosexual probably will not, and I'm speaking this, it will probably not even be a word anymore in the English language, because English takes a word and they make it into what they want. Even on this segment, Katt Williams said in different areas and stages in life, we'll change a word and we'll take like the R word, and instead of saying R, we'll say special needs. So if you're a master at taking words and changing them and telling people that you can mark down that you're an other, or that you're poly this, or you, and we get these things made up, these doctrines of the devil made up. It's so important for us to discern what's going on in the world. It's so important for us to discern who we are, who we're supposed to be. This is the last part I'm going to let you see. And it's Katt Williams talking about how he doesn't want to get with a Caucasian person, and he's telling why. And I don't even want to tell it.
She might have me running down the street like Jonathan.
Hold on. Here we go.
Picking the outfits, writing this guy's material, booking the show, making sure he gets there. He's doing hiring other comedians. But hey, I knew that that's the end goal. So if that's the end goal and I'm there when I start, why would I deviate from that?
Right.
Remember, my goal was to get this far in Hollywood and still have a virgin asshole. And never had sucked a penis. That was my only goal. I didn't want to get with a white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan.
There you go. Come on, Dad.
Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not going to act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror, and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends. And that's the truth of the matter. So I stayed away from that. And remember, I told you the drug story from when I'm in the park.
Yeah.
So these are just the things. I had all of those when I came in. I already was ready for that. That's what they don't like.
I did not know you're telling me and showing me a side of the business that I didn't know.
So that's what I just talked about. That's why he doesn't get with white women. Listen to the rest. He's going to talk about business.
That you guys are, man,
Conqueror, and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends. And that's the truth of the matter. So I stayed away from that. And remember, I told you the drug story from when I'm in the park.
Yeah.
So these are just the things. I had all of those when I came in. I already was ready for that. That's what they don't like.
I did not know you're telling me and showing me a side of the business that I didn't know. That you guys are, man, the competition, the competitiveness.
That's all business. I don't care if they're selling Coke. You wouldn't believe the things that Coca-Cola says about Pepsi. You wouldn't believe the water conversations between Dasani and Liquid Death. Like in all business, in all sport, competition is a driving force. I don't require anybody to be better. Who am I? I just require if you're a loser and you've taken shortcuts at every chance, and you've made sure that you didn't put anybody on that really had a work ethic and was a God-fearing person, and you helped it. If that was never you, then don't act like that's you. Don't get out here now that you don't do stand-up and start acting like you're not sure why you don't do stand-up no more. I heard you got run off. You better be careful. The nigga that run you off gonna show up and he gonna tell everybody. Man, what you gonna be able to say? Nothing. Why you think I speak with such clarity? I'm actually involved in each one of these stories I told you about. Right. Right.
The one comedian, as we've been sitting here doing this interview, that you hold in very high regard is Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle walked away from 50 million. You said it was more. Tell the story.
That's right.
Now, he's going to talk about the 50 million. It's not the 50 million, he said. It's going to be more to it than the 50 million. And I know you guys will be able to discern what he's saying and get a nugget from this. And then I'm going to close this out. You can see on here there's a lot left. So you can go to Club Shay Shay, watch this entire interview. It broke the internet. It got 13 million, and we got millions in 2 hours. Look at it. It's at 13 million. If God didn't want this to go up with a man that's independent, if God didn't want this to get out there to help some of you individuals before you try to get to these places of fame that you're striving for, I know the music industry. I know that people are they're uploading different things where you can get your music heard, and you get paid, that you pay them $20 to get your song heard for a few minutes. I know what is going on. And are you going to make it through that? It's just money that you're giving out. Let me tell you something. God sets one up and set one down. There is nobody that gets past God. And if you take shortcuts in what you're doing, if you take those shortcuts and do certain things to get to where you want to go, that becomes a part of your temple. That becomes a part of you that you have to get off of you, get delivered from, and get back to square one. What's square one? Jesus Christ. Look at this, 13 million views. One day ago, this is the biggest interview that this man has had on his show. You can imagine the envy that he's going to get from this. You can imagine this is his time, that he's going to explode in arenas after this. Katt Williams is a smart businessman, and he knew what platform to get on. I don't know about you. Besides that little radio interview, I don't know of any platform that he's done any kind of interview. And of course, you know the powers that be are going to be upset about this. They're going to be upset about this. So I'm going to go ahead and end this, and then I'm going to end my conversation, and you can watch the rest on your own time. This is Graceful Exposure, early in the morning, 7 a.m. All you're doing is tuning in to Graceful Exposure, and I just love having you here. Thank you for tuning in and listening to me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you looking at the commentary that I bring. And this year is going to be one of the best years, because this year is going to be a load of commentary that I have studied. I've studied for about 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Yes, it's coming out, and it's that time. Hold on.
I will let you tell it. No, I want you to tell it.
You really are the best. You've proven it here today. As much as I'm proving it, you proven it. You proven it. Yeah, that wasn't the thing. It wasn't. People say that he lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Like, no, not they offered him 50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down 50 million? Now I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
Now you know why I brought this interview on.
I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Can I need know? You can get to know.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
Because early on you was accusing me of being...
Man.
It's crazy.
I mean, but you know, some of these people...
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. When he had to go on his hiatus, he tell me, Katt, when I come back, I need you. You my young partner. You my brother in comedy. When I come back, just promise me that my next movie, it'll be me and you. We're going to do it together. We're going to do some buddy cop shit. I said, Martin, you got my motherfucking word, my nigga. Go do what you got to do. When you come back, I'm in your movie. Don't trip. I don't need to see the script or nothing. You know, we get in that office and this fool pull out Big Mama's House too. I almost died. And I got to read this script from all these good white people. Where this nigga want me to get in a dress with him. And I'm literally saying to everybody, why is he in a dress again? You already played the old lady as an FBI agent. We can play anything now. We can be playing a dog catcher this time. Why do we need to be in a dress? And I get so mad, I say, you don't want me. You want Brandon T. Jackson. And that's who they went and got. Twice I said it, they went and got him. Just like I'm telling you, I had the other dudes work. I had all of it. All I did was say, I want to punch it up so it's not offensive to real niggas. And that's how I got in this position.
I sure hope I have.
I know y'all hate that I stopped this. I know. Y'all hate that I stopped this. When y'all watch this, it's early in the morning while I'm going on live, but this is just a 30-minute segment of Katt Williams, his faith, and his business, and exposing a lot of the hypocrisy in the industry. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I want you to subscribe to Shay Shay right there. All of this is alleged and it's fair use and it's for entertainment purposes. So tuning out. This is Graceful Exposure. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button if you like this video. Okay? All right.